Madam President and members of the Union, you'd be forgiven, I think, for thinking that the honourable gentleman might have been speaking on the motion that this House has no confidence in human beings. Because what he seemed to suggest to you was that we're all human, we all make mistakes. And I suppose that Robocop is the natural conclusion of that logic, isn't it? Because, yes, we are all human, we do all make mistakes. And if that's what he's suggesting, I really don't know how we stop that, because I don't want to see Robocop. If indeed, as he seems to suggest, the police are human and make mistakes, I make mistakes, you make mistakes, we all make mistakes, I don't think that's a particularly novel point. It doesn't take him anywhere on this motion. And so I would suggest we park that whilst accepting the truth of the premise, human beings make mistakes. Now, no, thank you. I'll make a little progress, if I may. If I may first say this. If you saw a burglary, a mugging, on the street, the first thing you would do, I suggest, maybe you'd shout help, you'd then call 999. That is the ultimate vote of confidence in the police. You don't phone 999 and go, oh, this could go either way. Yeah, you know what's going to happen. You have absolute faith. You know exactly what's going to happen. It's been around forever. Now, the simple fact is we do have faith. You and I do have faith and confidence. Now, what the proposition are really seeking to do, with the greatest respect, is essentially blame the police for constant political interference, constant slashing of budgets, constant blaming of them for rising crime or falling crime. Blaming the police for rising crime is like blaming a doctor for disease. It's simply not credible because, and I should explain why, if the crime rate goes up or the detection rate goes up, I suggest that means the police are doing their job rather better because they're catching more criminals. And given that the conviction rate in the magistrates' court, where 95% of criminal offences are heard, remains at an extremely high 97%, I would suggest they're doing a rather good job of it. The conviction rate is as high as it's ever been, despite the number of these cases that were being prosecuted before wasn't acceptable. The police recognised that and they changed. You can have confidence in an institution that acknowledges its mistakes, accepts them, and changes. Unlike successive governments that have tried the same old hackneyed policy, who can be tougher on crime, the police say, well, OK, we're not doing this right. We're not doing this right at all. This has got to change. And the way that they now approach rape cases, for example, has changed fundamentally, and the conviction rate is going up as a result. And that's an institution I think we can be extremely proud of. Institution that looks at honour crimes as a difficult, and tackles it head on, a difficult cultural crime, sensitive, and they approach it carefully but firmly. That is an institution you can be very proud of. It's not a lack of confidence. No one lacks confidence in the police. They just want to change it a little bit, and fine. But that's really what they're going to try and tell you, I suggest. They want to tinker and fiddle. Fine. They can suggest how they want to tinker and fiddle. Change the Police Complaints Commission a bit. Fine, do it. Doesn't matter. But ask yourself, who do you call? Not Ghostbusters. 999. And that's the matter. And the honourable gentleman also made the very fair, if I may say, very generous admission that the British police are the best in the world, or amongst the best in the world, if I quote him accurately. Not just the best in the world. Scotland Yard is widely regarded the world over as producing the finest detectives. They're not of the sort of Lestrade, Sherlock Holmes type. The detectives at Scotland Yard, the world over, world leaders in DNA evidence, world leaders in cell site analysis, so downloading telephone data and producing maps of where defendants have been precisely, and that has led to innumerable convictions. World leaders on blood spatter, world leaders on autopsies, world leaders on fraud detection, world leaders on banking frauds. Now, a world-leading institution like that, the proposition may have no confidence in them, but it seems every other police force in the world does. I mean, these may be the only 3 people who actually want to tinker. And if they want to tinker, I suggest you're about to hear the following. You're about to hear they're badly managed and run. Actually, the structure of the police is very straightforward, very simple. It's like any kind of, well, you can be promoted up a ladder. You start at the bottom, and you're promoted to sergeant and inspector, and up you go. It's very, very, very simple. The structure's straightforward. They're individual forces. And then if there's a complaint, it's investigated externally, as it should be, and it's investigated properly. And above that, there's some political oversight from police and crime commissioners. And then above that, it's very simple. What they don't like is that the police union, the police federation, clashes with the government. Well, name me a union that doesn't. It's not controversial. They don't like the police federation. That's not the police force, as much as the honourable gentleman tends to suggest that it is. Police officers are members of it. I'm a member of the Oxford Union. I don't get told I've no confidence in members of the bar because I'm a member of the Oxford Union. It's just a membership thing. If they don't like it, fine. I don't think the police federation like the government very much. I think you will have gathered that. The simple thing here is this. The police force is effective. The police force is respected. And you can ask yourselves, who would you call? That's it. Who would you actually call? With that bell ringing in your ears, I'll just leave you with that thought. 999. That's the ultimate vote of confidence. And I can really do no more than that, than commend to you the police force and urge you to oppose the motion.